Hey guys, and welcome on into the next off-season preview show. We are going to be talking about the Columbus Blue Jackets, taking a look at their off-season ahead. Columbus missed the playoffs by 2 points. A fantastic season. If you watched last year's season preview show, I was very negative on the Columbus Blue Jackets, not on the team, but on their season preview and how I thought the season was going to go, and I was very wrong. So Columbus had a fantastic season last year. Now they have their off season ahead, looking into the next season. We're going to be taking a look at draft picks and management, free agents, forwards, defensemen, and goaltending, as well as my off-season tasks for the Columbus Blue Jackets at the end of the show. If you guys like the show, make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and leave in the comments of the video below what you think the Columbus Blue Jackets should be doing this off-season. With that, we will jump into the first segment, which is draft picks and management. Taking a look at management, Don Waddell, general manager, and Dean Evason, head coach. No changes from last season. And why would Columbus want to make any changes? They had a big jump up the standings last season. A lot of young players made me money from the betting aspect. A lot of young players playing very well. Adam Fantilli, especially Kent Johnson, though. Kent Johnson was awesome. Dmitry Voronkov was very good at times. Marchenko, the Columbus got a lot of players, had a lot of players playing very well last year. Looking at the draft picks for Columbus, they've got most of their picks. They don't have their second or fifth round pick. They have an extra pick from Vegas in the 7th round, and they also have the Wild's first round pick for this year's draft. In the David Jiricek trade. So obviously Minnesota getting a young defenseman, and then Columbus getting this first round pick, which they'll be able to use, assuming they don't trade it to another team. Offer sheet capability, Columbus is a little bit difficult, or a little bit complicated, basically. They do not have their second round pick for next year. So they are not able to offer sheet a player between basically 2.3 to 4.6 million, and they can't offer sheet a player basically from 7 to 11.7 million. They can offer sheet a player over 11.7 million, though. And Columbus is a very, very interesting team when it comes to offer sheets because you would have to, the most they could offer sheet a player with, unless they trade for their second round pick back, would be 7,020,113. And they would have to give up a first and a third round pick for next year. Next year's a very loaded draft. So when we are looking at offer sheets, I don't know exactly how likely it would be, but this Columbus Blue Jackets team is a very young team, but a team on the rise. So draft picks in future years, I think Columbus should be willing to entertain, to look to move. If they can get the right player in terms of a trade or an offer sheet, I think Columbus's draft picks aren't going to be worth very much if they continue heading in the direction they have been last season and in the future. With that being said, we will move on to the next segment, which is free agents. And the Columbus Blue Jackets made me work here with this one. A lot of UFAs, 4 RFAs here for the Columbus Blue Jackets, who have over $40 million in cap space. So they have a ton of cap space to sign whoever they would like. And they obviously have some RFAs here. Dmitry Voronkov, I think, will be the most expensive of these 4. I would get him signed. No ifs, ands, and nuts about that. If, ands, and buts. I would get a Jordan Harris re-signed as well. And then Mikhail Pythia, re-sign him. I don't think he's going to be expensive or difficult to sign. Danil Tarasov is a very interesting question. And I'm very interested to see what the Columbus Blue Jackets do with him. Do they leave a possible? Do they resign him, or do they leave a possibility that someone else might offer sheet him, or do they trade him in general? There is questions, so we'll get to that in a little bit. UFAs, a bunch of them, a bunch of UFAs here, and looking at this Columbus Blue Jackets team, the situation they're in right now, they're a very difficult team to predict when it comes to these UFAs who are coming back and who are not at this point. Columbus has so much cap space available. Obviously, the RFAs are priority, and then they can look to fill spots as needed, which we'll get to right now, which is the forward segment. Boone Jenner, Sean Monahan, and Kirill Marchenko projected to be the top line. Dmitry Voronkov, Adam Fantilli, and Kent Johnson, that second line, which is a fantastic second line. A very young but very skilled, offensively talented second line. Yegor Chinnikov, Cole Sillinger, and Matthew Olivier on the third line. Zach Aston-Reese, Jack Williams, Mikhail Pythia on the fourth line. Luca DeBella-Baluz as well as an extra forward. So overall, Columbus, as I said, they've got over $40 million in cap space. So if they want to go and add to this forward group, they definitely can do that. I think Boone Jenner, maybe you move him down to the third line. And in projections, I changed it up a little bit, but Yegor Chinnikov was actually in the fourth line. Zach Aston-Reese was on the third line in projections. I don't think that's the way it goes. I think Yegor Chinnikov will be on the third line. But if the Blue Jackets go and acquire a left winger, well, that would move Boone Jenner down. And really the Blue Jackets would have three very good lines. I think they're missing a top 9 forward, maybe a top 6 forward here in this group. And then it's really about what that bottom line does. Maybe go out and get a couple physical fourth line guys. Dean Evison will definitely love to have on that fourth line. Jack Williams, a young rookie. I don't know if he is exactly the best fit in that kind of situation, but Matthew Olivier could maybe move down to the fourth line. There's obviously Columbus has over $40 million in cap space, so they very well could go and sign a few forwards and completely change things up, or they could pull off a trade and really change things up. But looking at the projections as of right now, I like this forward group. There's a lot of young players here. Kent Johnson, Adam Fantilli, Igor Chinnikov, Voronkov, Cole Sillinger, Jack Williams, Michael Pythia. All these guys could potentially take steps forward from last year. Now, not all of them will, but some will and some won't. A lot of them could. And this Columbus Blue Jackets could actually have a scary offense, potentially. And that's what happens with young players. And I did say that on the preview show last year, on a lot of the preview shows I did last year. A lot of these young players, when you look at a team with a bunch of young players, especially if they've had rough seasons prior, you don't know when that big jump forward is going to happen, because eventually it's going to happen. And we kind of saw that with Columbus last year. Was that kind of a one-year wonder? Do we kind of see things regress a little bit this year? That's always a possibility as well. But with Dean Evison as head coach, he is a regular season guy. He's a great regular season coach. He was with the Wild, and he has been so far with Columbus. So he'll find a way to get the best out of players if need be. Looking at this group, of course, Kent Johnson is a center as well. They have a lot of centers, so I don't think Columbus is really in the market for a center. I think if anything, they're going to look for a winger. Obviously, James Van Riemsdyk was with them last year. I think they'd be looking to upgrade. Brad Marchand is going to be heavily coveted on the free agent market, despite being 37. Adding Brad Marchand, that is a player Dean Evason would absolutely love to coach, to have on his team. Brad Marchand would be an excellent addition. I don't know if Columbus is a team he would go to, but they have the money, and they could offer Brad Marchand a contract. I think he would be a great fit in a Dean Evason team, especially with all the young guys Columbus has. I think he would have been an excellent fit. Nikolai Ehlers is a potential as well, of course. And Jonathan Druitt, I think, would be very interesting. Again, injury histories for both of those guys. So Columbus would be taking a chance, but they have the ability to go and take a chance. If they want to make the playoffs next year and improve from last year, they are going to need to add a little bit of talent. Centers, like I said, Columbus is pretty stacked. Obviously, a lot of young players, but assuming that they play as they did last year, or some of them take small steps forward, you have a very good center depth. So I don't think centers are what Columbus will be looking for if they're looking at forwards in free agency. Of course, Mitch Marner, every team wants him. Columbus should absolutely offer him a big deal because they have the money to do that. And Columbus, a team that missed out of the playoffs by 2 points last year, if you go and add Mitch Marner in free agency, who had 102 points last year, with all the very talented offensive players that Columbus does have, that would make a lot of sense for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And, you may want to offer Marner close to a max contract and potentially overpay to get him on the Columbus Blue Jackets roster, because he would instantly change the outlook of the team. But also, and I know some people, they'll be Columbus fans, if you disagree with me, definitely put it in the comments below about overpaying for him, giving him close to the max money available. Not only would he obviously make this team a lot better right away, but it would also boost morale on that team. Adding a guy like Mitch Marner onto your lineup completely will change the morale of the team and would instantly make Columbus a playoff team, in my opinion. So, yes, Mitch Marner. Going back here actually for a second, any other guys in this list? Maybe Brock Besser would be, if they do miss out on Marner, would be interesting. Patrick Kane, while I don't see him going to Columbus, would also be a good addition, a veteran who can kind of mentor some of these young guys. I could see that. And the other three guys and the others, Smith, Dadonov, Perry, you could look to add them. I don't know if they're really would really make Columbus all that better. Like, with the guys they have, I don't know if necessarily they would make a lot of sense for those guys. RFAs. Obviously, as I said, they should be getting Dmitry Voronkov signed. So you would want to do that. Does Columbus want to go after any RFAs when it comes to offer sheets or by trade? Bowen Byram is definitely in trade rumors. He would be very interesting, adding to the Columbus defense. If any of these other guys are available, I think Columbus should definitely look at it. Marco Rossi is definitely in trade rumors, but I don't know if Columbus is the right team. Just as I said, they have a lot of centers right now, and it's not like I think Dean Evason doesn't like Rossi, but I just don't think that would. I don't think that is the type of guy they would be going after. So maybe JJ Peterka. I don't know. Columbus has options though. If the guys are available for trade, they should definitely be looking to add one of these guys, because any team adding any of these players on the screen here is going to make your team better. Adding any of these players is not going to make your team worse. So you should try to obviously add any of these players, of course, depending on what it's going to cost, of course. But any would be a good addition to any team. Looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets defense, Zach Werenski and Damon Severson on the top pair, Denton Mateychuk, Eric Branson on the second pair, Jordan Harris, Jake Christensen on that third pair. Again, a few young guys here, especially Jordan Harris, Mateychuk, and Christensen here. Columbus has a lot of money. I would be going and looking to maybe add a defenseman here, add some depth, some veteran presence here, just in case some of these young guys aren't quite ready for full-time. I think it would be good to go and look to add a veteran defenseman here. Of course, Fabro, Provorov played for Columbus last year. Could they re-sign one of those guys? It's possible. I think other good guys to look at would be maybe Gavrikov. Aaron Ekblad, while I don't know that he goes to Columbus, would be a huge addition to this team. Matt Grzelcyk as well. I think would be a good add. Brian Dumoulin could be a good addition here as well. Ryan Lindgren, of course. So there's guys available here if Columbus does want to add one of these UFA defensemen. Taking a look at goaltenders, Elvis Merzlikins projected starter next year, and Jet Greaves is projected to be the backup, with Danil Tarasov kind of being the third goalie. And this is why I said that we could have a potential where Columbus is. I don't want to say they trade Danil Tarasov, but there is a potential here where Columbus could look to move a goalie. One of their three goalies. Elvis Merzlikins has expressed in the past wanting to leave Columbus that he wants playing time. Looking at what he did last year, 26, 21, and 5, 3.18 goals against average, 892 save percentage. So it could be better, but more wins and losses. Tarasov, 7, 10, and 2 with a 3.54 goals against average and a 881 save percentage. So numbers that are worse than Merzlikins, which is definitely not something Columbus wants. You want an improvement when it comes to goaltending. And then there's Jet Greaves, who only played 11 games, but he went 7, 2, and 2. And he had a 1.91 goals against average and a 938 save percentage. So fantastic numbers in 11 games. So 9 games less than Tarasov. But he had great numbers last year. So does Columbus think that he could be the potential starter for this team? Do they still believe in Tarasov? I think Columbus re-signs Tarasov, being an RFA. I think Jet Greaves, have to see a little bit more from him. But if he plays like he did last year, this year, then Columbus could have a bit of a goalie situation here where maybe they do look to move a goalie. Looking at UFA goaltenders and RFA goaltenders, obviously Danil Tarasov, one of the top RFA goaltenders available. 26 years old, so he's also one of the older ones. And I could see Columbus moving on from him. I really could. And there's plenty of other guys, if Jet Greaves struggled, didn't play like he did last year, didn't have the success that he had last year, there are other guys Columbus could go and look at in the free agent market when it comes to goaltending. But goaltending, a big wild card from year to year, and going to have to see. Going to have to see how the goaltending goes. It is one of the question marks for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I'm looking at off-season tasks. What Columbus Blue Jackets should be doing here in the off-season. Well, what Don Waddell should be doing at least, and obviously his staff. 1, offer Mitch Marner a big contract. He would just absolutely be the perfect player to add for this team. that wants to make the playoffs next year, wants to improve from last year, you add a 100-point player to this lineup, to that offense, which has a lot of very skilled pieces as players as well already, with a lot of potential. You're making them better. Keeping the nucleus together, re-sign Dmitry Voronkov. Re-sign other RFAs. Tarasov questionable. And if for some reason you don't get Mitch Marner to contract and you re-sign your RFAs, you still need to get to the cap floor. Obviously, you sign Mitch Marner, boom, you're there. You don't have to worry about that. But if you do miss out on him and you don't go and sign a bunch of other players, you do need to sign some players to get to the cap floor, because there is a salary cap, but there's also a cap floor. Next task is improve goaltending. However that happens. If Jack Reeves has a great season, or maybe Merzlikins has a great season, or maybe Tarasov out of the blue has a really good season, goaltending is a question mark for the Blue Jackets, and I think if you want to make the playoffs, you need to address it either in this off season or during the season. And then, assuming they miss out on Mitch Marner, add some free agents. I think at least one winger and at least one defenseman the Blue Jackets should add. Unless they want to go all in, and then they could really add some players and make some trades and really try to go on a Stanley Cup run. But I don't think that they're quite there yet. I think you want a lot of these young players on this lineup, Adam Fantilli, Kent Johnson, others that have not, Kirill Marchenko, that have not played in the playoffs before. I think you want to get them some playoff experience. So I think that's important. So I think it's important for the Blue Jackets. Missing the playoffs by 2 points last year, I think it's important for them to make the playoffs this year. And if you look at the cap space that they have available, they definitely have the opportunity to go out and get some players that will help them and get them to the Stanley Cup playoffs next year. If you like this preview, make sure to hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And if you're a Columbus Blue Jackets fan, or if you're just somebody watching, let me know in the comments what you think the Blue Jackets need to do this offseason to get back into the playoffs. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you on the next offseason preview show.